Every February of every year, thousands of people gather around to see if Punxsutawney Phil will come out of his den to foretell an early end to winter. Now, that's great to have something to help us foretell the end of a season. And just like the seasons that we have in life and on the planet, there are economic and market seasons that we go through as well. And one of the things that we hear often from clients and other investors is waiting to invest when the time is right, when things get better and things cool down. And today I want to talk to you about why it's very difficult to do that and why we really shouldn't invest and wait for the right time. Because really, the best solution is coming up with a long term plan. So, just to get it started, my name is Zachariah Montera here with Frost and Frost Wealth Management. And just as a quick reminder before we go into our video, if you would just take a quick minute to look at the disclosures in the video description or found in the email that we sent this to you. And if you happen to be watching on social media, please just make sure that you go to our website at www.frostandfrost.com and read any of the disclosures there within. So, back to the market seasons. If we think about it, the market and the economy can sometimes seem like a very abstract concept, but in reality, they're just representations of all of our everyday choices as Americans. And so, if you think about it in that light, the market is no different than going through cycles like we go through in our lifetime. If we look at a company can be in an early growth stage, it can be an adolescent, and then it will hit its teenage years and probably go out into the public market, thinking of someone like Airbnb or Netflix a few years ago. And then we've seen this recently happen with Facebook, where now they've kind of hit this stage where they've gone through their 20s and 30s, and maybe they're hitting their peak earning years. And now they're starting to pay out dividends and let the cash flow go out back to investors. And so you see that even companies have this life cycle, just like we do. And it's important to note that every season has a pattern. And so going back to that illustration with Punxsutawney Phil, is that I wish we had a pure indicator to know when the right time to invest is. And granted, there are plenty of indicators we can look at, but the best solution is coming up with a long term plan. And I'll tell you why. Because think about it like being a farmer. If you're a farmer and you have your seeds and you're waiting to plant your seeds for the right time, it's hard to know when winter is really at an end, especially being from Colorado. I remember the days where it would be snowing and then you get that first nice sunny day and the grass turns green again. But then a couple of days later, the snow comes back. And so is it really the end of winter? So it's hard to know when to plant your crop. But if you waited until you started seeing all the other farmers around you, if you waited for them, for their crops to start growing and seeing the signs of life, it would be far too late for you to plant your crop. But that's what it's like to wait for things to get better, to wait to invest. Because at the end of the day, the stock market is looking forward into the future. It's estimating where we're going to be in the next 6 to 12 months. It's not necessarily looking at where we're at today. Things can be at their worst today, but the stock market can be looking ahead and saying that things are going to be getting better. And that's certainly true when we look at the Rockdale speedometers that we like to look at. If I compare last year to this year's numbers, things have drastically improved. And one of the telltale signs of coming out of an economic or market winter is everyone's still pretty negative. And then that first sign of life in spring is people start to be a little bit more bullish, start to be investing more. We're starting to hit new highs in the market. And that's some of our first signs of springtime. And so going back to the practicality of this, what do we do when it's very hard for anyone at all to ever predict what's going to be happening in the market? And we certainly don't try to do that here at Frost and Frost. So the point is coming up with a long-term plan and investing based on that long-term plan. And now you might be thinking, Zachariah, I get that. I hear what you're saying, but I don't know how much longer I have. I don't know if I really want to make a long-term plan. And I get that. I completely understand. And to be truthful, I could use the same argument for myself because even though I'm in my 30s, I could make the argument, well, I don't know if I'm going to be here in my 60s. So should I really start investing for my 60s? And the answer is, of course I should, because that's the nature of a plan. You plan for the future, even though there's uncertainty. Because what if you get there and things are actually okay and we didn't take the steps to plan now? It's about thinking about your future self. Or in some cases, it's about thinking about the future selves of other people in your family who you're seeking to take care of. And so that's what matters at the end of the day when it comes to long term investment planning. And then it's just sticking to that plan. It's not trying to time the market, it's really just about time in the market. If you plant in the spring, you're going to have a harvest in the fall. But if you don't plant in the spring, there's no harvest. And so that's the importance of it and making sure that you're investing within your risk tolerance. We never want to be selling when things are down and pushing you to your selling point. That's not what we want to do. And then, of course, just making sure that we have stages put in buckets for you if you're taking income or other things like that. And so, as we enter into the summer season here, just remember that the market and the economy work just like the seasons. There's patterns to everything. The sun goes up and goes down. That's not going to change anytime soon. Same thing with the seasons of the economy and our personal lives. And so I hope that can help you see why it's important to just focus on what you can control in having a long term plan. And here at Frost and Frost, we're here to help you through that process in any way that we can. Until next time, take care. Bye bye.